Today we're going to talk about planetary spirits and magic squares. This is actually a topic that I've wanted to go into for some time in my videos. We're going to talk about magic squares. And also, there's a reason that we're getting into this topic. This is going to bring us to the planetary spirits and planetary intelligences, which, if you're watching these videos, we are about to start asking planetary intelligences or spirits questions through geomancy, okay? So those of you that have been watching my videos, in my videos, you are going to draw your own geomantic figure, which was a form of divination in the Renaissance. And today we're going to talk about the source of some of these planetary spirits and intelligences. So, today we're going to be taking a look at the 3 books of occult philosophy. The 3 books of occult philosophy. So, in particular, this was published, book 1 was published in 1531, book 1, that dealt with natural or elementary magic. And then books 1, 2, and 3, dealing also with celestial and divine magic, were together published in 1533. So the 3 books of Cornelius Agrippa is the great occult classic of the 16th century. If you were an occultist in the 1500s and later, then you read Agrippa. Okay, the 3 books of occult philosophy. And today we're going to be looking at magical squares. In particular, now why would we start with Saturn? Why would we start with Saturn? We're going to start with Saturn for several reasons. First of all, he was Kronos, the father of the gods, okay? He is the oldest of the 7. And Saturn is the one sphere, according to the Tree of Life, to reach up into the supernal. Saturn, also, just for practicality's sake, it is the simplest of the magical squares. It is a square of 3. It's a square of 3. Very simple. Okay, a square 3 by 3. Magical squares are essentially number squares where no matter if you read them sideways or vertically or diagonally, you always end up with the same number. And it's from these magical squares that we get the sigils and names of various planetary spirits and intelligences. So each planetary square more or less expresses the energy of a planet in numerical symbolism. They express the energies of the planet, okay? It's very easy to remember the numerical number. It's always easy to remember the number of a planet if you're familiar with the Tree of Life. So it's very easy for those of you that are familiar with perhaps modern lodge magic, like Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, for example. Those of you that have read Rigardi or whatever, those of you that are familiar with modern lodge magic and the Tree of Life, it'll be very easy to understand this because you already understand the Tree of Life. So the square of Saturn, the number of Saturn is 3. So the numbers of the planets, according to Agrippa here, range from 3 to 9. The base numbers from 3 to 9. 3 is associated with Saturn. Okay, again, this follows the Tree of Life. If you're familiar with the Sephiroth on the Tree of Life, okay, then Saturn, 3 is Saturn, Binah. 4, Chesed, is Jupiter. Geberah, 5, Mars. Tiferet is 6, the Sun. 7 is Netzach, Venus. Hod is 8, Mercury. And 9 is Yesod, the Moon. So if you know the Sephiroth on the Tree of Life, this matches. So you know that 9 is the magical number of the moon, or 8 is of Mercury, 7 of Venus, 6 of the sun, 5 of Mars. 4 of Jupiter, and then 3 of Saturn. Okay, so it follows the Sephiroth from Binah to Yesod. Now, the magical squares. Again, in Hebrew, Hebrew letters are both numbers as well as letters. So the letter Aleph is the letter Aleph, but it's also the number 1. Or the letter Beit is the number 2, as well as the letter B or V, Beit or Veit. Because it could make either sound depending on whether it has a dagesh in the center or a dot in the center. Gimel is 3. Dalet is 4. He is 5. Zion, or Vav is 6. Zion is 7. Chet is 8. Tet is 9. Yod is 10. So you have the Hebrew letters are also numbers. So with this knowledge, you see a magical square that has 9 numbers inside. The numbers from 1 through 9. So we see that the magical number of Saturn is 3, and then 3 times 3 is 9. So we have 9 squares. And then we have the numbers from 1 through 9 added together equal 45. And then 45 divided by 3, the magical number of Saturn is 15. And if you add any row or any column, you will get 15. Okay, so 15 is the number of Saturn. So these are basically the numbers of Saturn, magical squares. This is a topic that I'm about to start going into a lot deeper. So this is just video 1. So today I'm just going to show you just real quick about the magical square of Saturn. And I'm going to show you how to get the sigil of the intelligence and the spirits of Saturn. And we're going to talk about what are the intelligences, what are the spirits, what are the difference between these. And we're going to look at the classical sources to learn more about it. So today, the magical square of Saturn is the simplest. It's the magical square of the number is 3. So it's usually where people start. When people start talking about magical squares, they usually start with Saturn. Just because it's easiest. There's only 3 times. There's 9 squares. Okay, it's the smallest. It's easiest to demonstrate. The 3 books of occult philosophy. One thing that I think is cool about doing my videos in this way is that it gives many people the opportunity that they've never read the 3 books of occult philosophy by Agrippa. It gives them the opportunity to just listen to my videos, and you're getting little doses of Agrippa. Okay, so many of you, maybe you're not going to read the 3 books of occult philosophy by Cornelius Agrippa in the 16th century. Hopefully you will. Later on, I'm going to give links in the description and pinned to the top of the comments, both on YouTube and on Facebook. When I finish the video, I'll give links to those that want to buy a copy if you don't have a copy yet. I highly recommend this be added to your library, your occult library, the 3 books of occult philosophy by Heinrich Cornelius Agrippa. These were published in 1531 and 1533. Very important books on magic. And today we're going to talk about spirit sigils. So in my videos, we try to focus on like 16th century sources, 17th century sources. We focus a lot on classical magic and Renaissance magic, okay? So magical squares, they're basically squares with numbers. And from the magic squares, you get the names of spirits of the planet. Each magic square, so the square of 3 is a square of Saturn. A square of 4, it has 16 squares altogether, is a square of Jupiter. And on that one, you get the planetary names of the intelligence and also of the spirit of Jupiter. And then as you work through the spirits, as I'll show you here. So if you have a copy of the 3 books of occult philosophy, I highly recommend that you read along. If not, you're about to hear Agrippa. Okay, so that's one good thing about my videos is that a lot of people that maybe they've never heard Agrippa before or read Agrippa with me, they're going to read Agrippa. So first things first. We are going to go to, in the Donald Tyson, it's actually page 320. Okay. Nope, before that. 319. Now we are going to the 3 books of occult philosophy, book 2, chapter 22. Again, that's the 3 books of occult philosophy, book 2, chapter 22. All right. All right. So, Michael just commented, numerology is a hoax. So is this scam artist. Okay, well, Michael, we're just reading a book from the 1500s. If you don't agree with the book from the 1500s, I mean, that's fine. You don't have to agree with the book from the 1500s, okay? You could say, this is a sham. This is a scam. That's fine, you know. But it's what they believed in the 1500s. So that's the thing with my videos. There are many people that are practicing occultists that work with this stuff and take it seriously. However, if you don't believe in numbers or that numbers have meaning, or if you think it's all a scam, well, first of all, I don't know why you're watching my videos. But second of all, you know, maybe at least you learned something a little bit about the history of human thought. Because again, we're reading a book that was published in 1533. So this is a historical text. This text is, this book was around, you know, when William Shakespeare was around. Okay, so this is from the 1500s. But anyways, it was originally published in Latin. Okay, this book, it was published in 1533. So we're going to Henry Cornelius Agrippa's 3 books of occult philosophy, book 2, chapter 22. Okay, but thank you, Michael, for letting us know that you think that numerology is a hoax. Thank you, Michael. All right. Of the tables of the planets, their virtues, forms, and what divine names, intelligences, and spirits are said over them. It is affirmed by magicians that there are certain tables of numbers. Now we're going to start reading Agrippa, y'all. We're reading Agrippa. So this is Agrippa's 3 books of occult philosophy, book 2, chapter 22. Okay, he talks about the magical, well, the tables, the magical squares. So here we go. It is affirmed by magicians that there are certain tables of numbers distributed to the 7 planets, which they call the sacred tables of the planets. Right here, endowed with many and very great virtues of the heavens, inasmuch as they represent that divine order of celestial numbers impressed upon celestials by the ideas of the divine mind, by means of the soul of the world, and the sweet harmony of those celestial rays, signifying according to the proportion of effigies supercelestial intelligences, which can no other way be expressed than by the marks of numbers and characters. For material numbers and figures can do nothing in the mysteries of hid things, but representatively by formal numbers and figures, as they are governed and informed by intelligences and divine numerations, which unite the extremes of the matter and the spirit to the will of the elevated soul, receiving through great affection by the celestial power of the operator, a power from God applied through the soul of the universe, in observations of celestial constellations, to a matter fit for a form, the mediums being disposed by the skill and industry of magicians. But let us hasten to explain the tables severally. So here Cornelius Agrippa is going to start talking about the powers of the magical squares, okay? And I do apologize that my camera, I do need to set some things up with my video. It actually has the numbers backwards, okay? But that is a 6, that's a 9, that's a 4, that's a 3, that's a 5, that's a 7, etc., etc., okay? Here we go. Now he talks about the magical square of Saturn, and this is it, okay? So here's the magical square of Saturn. Agrippa says, the first of them is assigned to Saturn and consists of a square of 3. This is a square of 3 right here, okay? So, Agrippa says the first of them is assigned to Saturn, and this behind me here, this is the magical square of Saturn, right here behind me here. The first of them is assigned to Saturn as consists of a square of 3, containing the particular numbers of 9. There are 9 squares here. And in every line, 3 every way, and through each diameter making 15. See, if you add any of the rows, you get 15. For example, 4 plus 9 plus 6 is 15. Okay, 3 plus 5 plus 7 is 15. 8 plus 1 plus 6 is 15. You could add any column. 4 plus 3 plus 8 is 15. Okay, 9 plus 5 plus 1 is 15. 2 plus 7 plus 6 is 15. So however you go about it, you get 15. That's what makes it a magical square. Okay? And anyways. And then if you add up all of the numbers that compose it, if you add 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6 plus 7 plus 8 plus 9, then you get 45. 45 divided by the magical number of Saturn, 3, is 15, which 15 is what you get in any direction. So back to Agrippa. Now, so the first of them is assigned to Saturn and consists of a square of 3, containing the particular numbers of 9, and in every line 3 every way, and through each diameter making 15. Now the whole sum of numbers is 45. So you add all the numbers from 1 through 9 together, you get 45. Over this are of divine names set, such names as fill up the numbers with an intelligency to what is good, with a spirit to what is bad. And out of the same numbers is drawn the seal or character of Saturn, and of the spirits thereof, such as we shall beneath ascribe to its table. They say that this table, being with the fortunate Saturn engraven on a plate of lead, doth help to bring forth or birth, and to make a man safe and powerful, and to cause success of petitions with princes and powers. But if it be done with an unfortunate Saturn, that it hinders buildings, plantings, and the like, and casts a man from honors and dignities, and causes discords and quarrelings, and disperses an army. So that is Agrippa talking about the magical square of Saturn. Now, if we go a little further on in that chapter, now, here, I really recommend that people get this book. After I finish doing the video, I'll give links. They will be commission links, but if people buy a copy using my link, I do get a commission. But I highly recommend the 3 books of occult philosophy. This was published in 1533. And then right here we have, this is the intelligence of Saturn, and this is the spirit of Saturn, their sigils. And then this is the seal of Saturn. Now, Agrippa says that the intelligence of Saturn is a good spirit, and that the spirit of Saturn is an evil spirit, is kind of how Agrippa makes it sound. Or some would say fortunate Saturn or an unfortunate Saturn. Now, in modern magic, we don't like that idea. That it's a evil spirit and a good intelligence. A lot of people in modern magic have discarded that idea. So instead, in a lot of modern magic, the intelligence of a planet is seen as, well, intelligent, whereas the spirit of a planet is a blind force. Either way, the basic premise in a lot of magic circles is that you should not invoke a spirit without the presence of the intelligence, okay? So the basic idea is this. Agrippa says an intelligence to good and a spirit of evil. That's what Agrippa says. In a lot of modern lodge magic, this is reinterpreted to being that the intelligence is intelligent, like the name implies, and that the spirit is a blind force. So, for example, Agiel is the intelligence of Saturn. Zazel would be like a blind force that you don't want just running amok. So you would call Agiel to help direct Zazel. Because otherwise you'd have a blind force of Saturn. You want the intelligence to direct the blind force. In classical magic, what Agrippa seems to be saying is that we have Mars fortunate and unfortunate, or a intelligence of good and a spirit of evil. He actually, it's daimon in the Latin demonium. It says demon. So let's go back to what Agrippa says here. This is Agrippa, the 3 books of occult philosophy. This is book 2, chapter 2. Again, talking about the table of Saturn. The first of them is assigned to Saturn and consists of a square of 3 containing the particular number of 9, and in every line 3 every way, and through each diameter making 15. Now the whole sum of numbers is 45. Over this are the divine names set, such names as fill up the numbers with the intelligency to what is good, with a spirit to what is bad. Okay. And then, once again, is the intelligence good and the spirit bad? This is largely reinterpreted nowadays. Now, different magicians have different views, but that's just what Agrippa says. An intelligence to good, a spirit to bad. And then, like I said, in a lot of modern magic, the idea is that the intelligence is essentially intelligent, like the name implies, the intelligence, whereas the spirit is like a blind force. You don't want just a blind force. When you call the spirit, you call the intelligence. Now, in geomancy, this complicates things further. I do a lot of geomancy in my videos. Which one do you call? The intelligence or the spirit? Like if you read John Michael Greer's Art of Geomancy, another book I highly recommend on geomancy, by the way. I'll give links to that for anyone that wants to buy a copy. That's a really good book. John Michael Greer, his Art of Geomancy, he just mentions the spirits. He doesn't even mention, I don't think, the intelligence. Or does he? But me personally, I just do the intelligence. I don't do it because I'm scared of the spirit without the intelligence. It's just what I've always done. To me, the word intelligence, like if I want to know something, I go to the intelligence. That's just how I've always done it. So there are many geomancers that just trace the sigil of the spirit, and they call the spirit, and they get the answer to their question. They don't seem to have any problems, so I don't think people have anything to worry about or be scared of, Some people are scared to work with spirits because it's not the intelligence that Agrippa says is a bad spirit or is a blind force, whatever. For geomancy, I think it's fine if you want to just ask a question in geomancy. Me personally, I do the intelligence, which traditionally would be like, well, quote unquote traditionally, in lodge magic and in classical magic, probably be seen as the safer way. The safer way is the intelligence, because the intelligence to good, the spirit to evil. Or some would interpret it in a modern context as the intelligence versus the spirit as a blind force. I just use the intelligence, because to me, if I'm divining, I go to the intelligence. So what I'm basically trying to say is many geomancers ask the spirit. That's equally valid. I ask the intelligence. Either way can work. But the names of the spirit and the intelligence of Saturn both add to 45. So Zazel is the spirit of Saturn. It adds to 45. And the spirit, the intelligence of Saturn is Agiel. Agiel equals 45. And the names of God are also drawn from the names of this magical square, and also the seal of Saturn. So as you can see here, again, this is Agrippa. Over here, you have the intelligence of Saturn, and over here you have the spirit of Saturn. Now my camera is flipped, but that's the intelligence, that's the spirit. And then up here is the seal. This all comes from the magical square, which is up here. Okay. Now, the names of God. I'm also showing people how to read Agrippa. Maybe some people have never read Agrippa before, and maybe these videos can help those people. But right here, those of you that hold in your hands the same book I have, I'm holding the copy that I have. This is Donald Tyson's hardcover. I personally really like, even though there are, like, Eric Purdue has his version and everything. I like the old school Donald Tyson. I think for new people especially, he has a lot of really great footnotes and. But those of you that are reading the same kind, this is page 320. Over here is listed the names of God, also from Saturn. So as you can see, the names of God, Ab adds to 3. Hod. So let's take a look at this. what you can basically do, let's say for geomancy, we're talking about geomancy, but you can also do it for spirit evocation in itself. You could also do like a candle spell. Let's say you wanted to do a Saturn candle spell. You can get a black altar cloth. You might want to dress in black. Do it on a Saturday at sunrise at the hour of Saturn. Black candle. You can carve the square of Saturn. You can put it in lead. Put it in a plate. Burn candles. Burn 3 candles on a plate with the square of Saturn, or maybe the seal of Saturn. So you're taking these pieces and you're building them into a ritual. That's how you bring Agrippa to life. You take the pieces of Agrippa and then you construct a ritual out of it, more or less. So anyways, Agiel, the intelligence of Saturn, it has the gematria value of 45, as does Zazel, the spirit of Saturn. And the names of God are Av, Hod, which should not be confused with the Sephira. So the name of God here, Hod, is absolutely not referring to the Sephira Hod. And that's something to understand if you're going to read Agrippa. Sometimes it doesn't exactly match up in that kind of way, because Saturn is Binah, is not Hod. Okay, but the gematria of Hod, He Dalet equals 9, and then spelled out He Vav Dalet equals 15. And that's the key point here, is that 15, 3, 9, 15, and 45 are the numbers of Saturn. Okay, with the magic square of Saturn, the magical numbers of Saturn are 3, 9, 15, and 45. So each Hebrew letter also makes a number. So Ab means father. Ab has the gematria of 3. Hod, Hedalet, means splendor. Yah, the name of God, Yah, Yod He, Yah, it has the gematria value of 15, which is of Saturn. Hod, spelled out, He Vav Dalet. Hod again means splendor. That's 15. Jehovah or Yahweh extended has a gematria value of 45. As such, the gematria of Yod Vav Dalet, Yod, He, Aleph, Vav Aleph Vav, He Aleph equals 45. That's Yahweh, or the tetragrammaton extended. And then the name Agiel, Aleph Gimel Yod Aleph Lamed, Agiel has the gematria value of 45. And then Zazel has the gematria value of 45. So basically, with the magical squares, these can be talismans in themselves. Another thing is, you can actually trace your own name in a magic square. And that can kind of express, that's kind of a modern, kind of a quote-unquote new age approach. But you can trace your own name in a magic square. If you change the letters in your name to Hebrew, you can trace them in a magic square. Okay? So, for example, Taliesin, 4. You reduce them if you don't have like the zeros. Like there's no 400, but there's a 4 that could be T, A, L. Lamed is 30, but it'd be 3. So if I trace my name in a magic square, it'd be Tal, Lee, Sin. Okay, and then 6, S. And then to 1, and then N would be 5. So basically, each Hebrew letter also equals a number. So what I'm saying is, in a magic square, you could imagine that they're numbers. So like 3 is G, 5, it could be N, or it could be H. 4 is the letter D or Dalet. So basically, this may sound pretty complex, but basically the 22 Hebrew letters are also numbers. So you can spell words. And that's what the 16th century magic book is talking about. You can spell the names of spirits in these number squares. So Zazel is the spirit, or the quote-unquote evil spirit, according to Agrippa of Saturn. Or we can do the intelligence if people are more comfortable. Agiel. Agiel, the number 1 is Aleph. That's A. G, the letter G, Gimel, the letter G is 3. Okay, Gi, that's 10 is back to 1, and then 1, and then L. And then if you look at the magical seal of Agiel, it's basically the name Agiel traced on the magic square. Okay, do you see that? So the name Agiel, the intelligence of Saturn, is, see the double hook? That's where the Yod and the Aleph traced on the magic square. Agiel, okay? And you can trace Zazel, the spirit of Saturn, Z, A, Z. So 7 is Z, 1 is A. So Z, A, Z, A, and then L. Zazel. 30 is that letter L is 30, which is reduced to 3. So Zazel, right here, this sigil comes from this magic square. And then the seal of Saturn, this can be put on a plate for burning candles for like, let's say, candle magic with Saturn, or whatever you're doing. The seal of Saturn can just be used. In fact, Agrippa talks about just taking these things, or taking the seal itself, the square, or taking these symbols and turning them into talismans, okay? Agrippa. And this is 100% Cornelius Agrippa magic. This is 16th century ceremonial magic, okay? This is absolutely Renaissance ceremonial magic. So, and again, Agrippa, when talking about this square, he says, let me read this again. I know that I repeat things a lot, but I really think that it helps the learning process. And it may seem awkward to some, or some people it may get on their nerves. I really think it helps the learning process, okay? I'm going to repeat this again from Agrippa. He's talking about the magic square. Now, we are reading a book published in 1533, The Three Books of Occult Philosophy by Henry Cornelius Agrippa. This is Book 2, Chapter 22. The first of them, talking about this magic square behind me, the magic square of Saturn, okay? The first of them is assigned to Saturn and consists of a square of 3, containing the particular numbers of 9, and in every line 3 every way, and through each diameter making 15. Now the whole sum of numbers is 45. Over this are of divine names set, such names as fill up the numbers, with an intelligency to what is good, with the spirit to what is bad. And out of the same numbers is drawn the seal or character of Saturn, and of the spirits thereof, such as we shall beneath ascribe to its table. They say that this table, talking about this magic square, being with a fortunate Saturn, engraven on a plate of lead, doth help bring forth or birth, and to make a man safe and powerful, and to cause successive petitions with princes and powers. But if it be done with an unfortunate Saturn, that's like negative, like bad astrological conditions, unfortunate Saturn, that it hinders buildings, plantings, and the like, and casts a man from honors and dignities, and causes discords and quarrelings, and disperses an army. So, anyways, so as I'm going to show you here in a minute, you can call on, and together in this video, we will be calling on the intelligence of Saturn, okay? So if you watch these videos with me, and if you feel comfortable doing magic with me here, together, we are going to call on the intelligence of Saturn. So those of you that are watching at home, we're going to do a little Renaissance magic together, okay? We're going to try to establish contact with the disembodied entity of classical magic from the 16th century, okay? So we're going to do this together, and we're going to query and ask a question, and 100% using Renaissance magic techniques, okay? So that's what we've got coming today. So, actually, while I am here, let's take a look at Saturn. Let's take a deeper look at Saturn. If we're going to go to the Key of Solomon, the Key of Solomon is another magical grimoire, the Key of Solomon. I am by no means an expert on the Key of Solomon, by the way, but the Key of Solomon is essentially, there's a lot of different texts of the Key of Solomon and versions. Most of them date from the 1500s all the way, most of them like 16, 17, 1800s. So the Key of Solomon is basically a magical grimoire that can be divided into two workings, two different types of work. One is called the Grand Invocation, and in the Key of Solomon, the Grand Invocation is where you're basically summoning demons, all the demons in the area, and trying to get them to do your bidding. Now, this is considered very dangerous and takes a lot of preparation and fasting and the 10 days of fasting and special purifications. And a very complicated circle is marked in the ground, probably in earth or a big room with chalk. And there's like a square and a double square. And then there's like sensors on the four corners of the squares. It is a big, elaborate ceremony, the Grand Invocation. However, there's a second type of magic that's a lot simpler, which is the talismanic part, which is the pentacles. And a lot of people don't know you don't need all that preparation for just making Solomonic pentacles. Solomonic pentacles, you basically hold the talisman and the incense smoke and recite psalms. But it's so people confuse these two, the Key of Solomon. Now, I am by no means an expert, and I don't yet feel comfortable like talking about it or giving advice on the Key of Solomon. I do not, but I know a little bit about it. And I know that there are two different workings in the Key of Solomon. And a lot of times these are confused. So when people read the Key of Solomon, where it's talking about 10 days of purification and all of these things and this big elaborate, I'll show you, these big elaborate, how do I show you? These big elaborate double circle type of things and all of that, you know, that's basically that's for the Grand Invocation. Here we go. This would be the circle marked in the ground right here, okay, and then a censer is at each of the four corners, okay, and then there's the magician, okay, or there should be a little entrance, yeah. So that is the grand, and there's a big elaborate ritual. Okay, but the other part of the Key of Solomon is basically the lesser work is the pentacles or talismans. And you're basically holding talismans, planetary talismans and incense smoke and reciting psalms. Okay, but anyways, today we're just going, now this is from Mather's Key of Solomon, which is based on the Colorno family. So there are different versions of the Key of Solomon. Today we're looking at the Colorno family. So we go to the Colorno. This is just S.L. McGregor Mather's Key of Solomon. We're at Book 1, Chapter 2. In the days and hours of Saturn, thou canst... So, hi Albert, how are you? So, today we're reading the Key of Solomon, and by the way, not to interrupt the flow of the video, but Albert, I'm gonna get back with you. Yeah, we were talking privately. I'm gonna get back with you, Albert. But and thank you for joining me, Albert. It's great to have you here and have all of you here. Thank you for joining me tonight. So here I'm just reading a little bit about the qualities of Saturn. And these are some of the qualities of Saturn because we're working with the square of Saturn. And together, if you're watching this video, we're going to invoke or call the spirit of Saturn together. Okay? So it says here, in the days and hours of Saturn. So this is from the Key of Solomon. Again, now we're reading from the Key of Solomon. We were just reading Agrippa's 3 books of occult philosophy. Now we're reading what the Key of Solomon says. The Key of Solomon says, and we are, again, we're at, this is Mather's Key of Solomon. This is Book 1, Chapter 2. In the days and hours of Saturn, thou canst perform experiments to summon the souls from Hades, but only of those who have died a natural death. Similarly, on these days and hours, thou canst operate to bring either good or bad fortune to buildings, to have familiar spirits attend thee in sleep, to cause good or ill success to business, possessions, goods, seeds, fruits, and similar things, in order to acquire learning, to bring destruction and to give death, and to sow discord and to sow hatred and discord. So these are kind of some of the things that you would call the spirits of Saturn for, and kind of the questions. What would I ask? So in Geomancy, you can ask a spirit of love about love matters. You can ask a spirit of prosperity for money matters. And what would you ask a spirit of Saturn about? Well, anything that has to do with these matters. It looks like farming, agriculture, success to businesses and buildings. And I would also say like rigid discipline, anything to deal with discipline or schedules or your business, things that you're growing, trying to produce, like farming, all of that with Saturn, okay? So that is Saturn. That is according to the Key of Solomon. Now, there's another passage. Let's read one more part of Agrippa. So if you're listening to my videos or watching my videos, we are working through Agrippa together. So once again, there are many people that maybe they don't have a copy of Agrippa or don't want to work through Agrippa themselves. Here in these videos, you're listening to Agrippa right now. Right now you're listening to the classics, the Key of Solomon and Agrippa. We're getting into some classical magic, y'all. Classical magic. I'm talking Key of Solomon, Agrippa. We're getting into some real classical Renaissance stuff. Now, I also wanted to go to the 3 books of occult philosophy. If you will flip the pages, okay. If you got a copy of the book, we're gonna go to book 1, chapter 25, I believe 25. Let's see here. I believe it's 25. Yes, I'm going off of memory. Come on now. Come on. How's everyone doing this evening? How are you doing? Which one is it? Which one is it? Okay, so it should be. Where is it? Alright, y'all. Here we are. Hell yeah. Alright, y'all, so we are in the 3 books of occult philosophy. The 3 books of occult philosophy, book 1, chapter 25. What things are Saturnine or under the power of Saturn? Saturnine things. Now, I'm reading a little bit about Saturn because together we're going to be working with the intelligence of Saturn, okay? We're doing a little Renaissance magic together. If you keep watching my video, we're about to make contact with this entity, okay? We're going to make contact with this entity and ask a very specific question if you keep watching. So, Agrippa's 3 books of occult philosophy. This was written in the 16th century. We're at book 1, chapter 25. What things are Saturnine or under the power of Saturn? Okay, this is what Agrippa says. Saturnine things amongst elements are earth and also water. Amongst humors, black choler that is moist, as well natural as adventitious. Adust, choler is accepted. Amongst tastes, sour, tart, and dead. Amongst metals, lead and gold, by reason of its weight, and the golden marcasite. Now that's iron pyrite or fool's gold. Amongst stones, the onyx. So onyx, according to Agrippa, onyx is a stone of Saturn. And that connects with a lot of modern magic, because a lot of modern, like, New Age magicians, they use onyx to connect with Capricorn or Saturn. And but this shows that this is one of those New Age things that, yeah, there is a historical root there. Okay, so Saturn the planet Saturn associated with the stone onyx, according to Agrippa, so that agrees. The Ziaza, the Carmonius, the sapphire, the brown jasper, the chalcedon, the lodestone, and all dark, weighty, earthy things. So, according to Agrippa, these are the things associated with Saturn. Amongst plants and trees, the daffodil. Now, remember I talk about in Agrippa's three worlds, okay? So, in the divine world, you have the angel or spirit or whatever. In the celestial world, the second world, that's the astrological planet or whatever, okay? And then in the elemental world, that's where you have the stones, plants, herbs. And remember I talked about how every tree, every plant, every stone is associated with a particular star or planet. Okay, and every stone is associated with a particular angel. So this is classical Renaissance magic, kind of that mind view or that mindset, okay? Again, not saying this is true, this is just that Renaissance mindset so we can kind of understand classical magic and kind of 15th century magic and how it would have worked out, okay? So according to Agrippa, these are the plants, stones, animals associated with Saturn. So again, we're seeing in things here like plants and stones, these are the things that relate to Saturn, specifically correlate to Saturn according to Agrippa. Among plants and trees, the daffodil, dragonwort, rue, cumin, hellebore. The tree from whence benzoin comes, mandrake. These are all things related to Saturn, okay? Mandrake, opium, and those things which stupefy. And those things which are never sown and never bear fruit, and those which bring forth berries of a dark color and black fruit, as the black fig tree, the pine tree, the cypress tree, and a certain tree used at burials, which never springs afresh with berries, rough, of a bitter taste, of a strong smell, and of a black shadow, yielding a most sharp pitch, bearing a most unprofitable fruit, never dies with age, deadly, dedicated to Pluto, that's the god of the underworld, as is the herb past flower, with which they were wont anciently to strew the graves, before they put the dead bodies into them. Wherefore it was lawful to make their garlands at feasts with all herbs and flowers, besides past flower, because it was mournful, and not conducing to mirth. Also all creeping animals, living apart and solitary, nightly, sad, contemplative, dull, covetous, fearful, melancholy, that take much pains, slow, that feed grossly, and such as eat their young. Of these kinds, therefore, are the mole, the asses, the wolf, the hare, the mule, the cat, the camel, the bear, the hog, the ape, the dragon, the basilisk, the toad, all serpents and creeping things, scorpions, pismires, and such things as proceed from putrefaction in the earth, in water, or in the ruins of houses, as mice and many sorts of vermin. Amongst birds, those are saturnine, which have long necks and harsh voices, as cranes, ostriches, and peacocks, which are dedicated to Saturn and Juno. Also the screech owl, the horn owl, the bat, the lapwing, the crow, the quail, which is the most envious bird of all. Amongst fishes, the eel, living apart from all other fish, the lamprey, the dogfish, which devours her young, also the tortoise, oysters, cockles, to which may be added sea sponges, and all such things as come of them. Okay, so that is Agrippa writing in the 1500s on the things relating to Saturn. And by the way, those of you that do like astral projection and things like that, you know that based on Agrippa's correspondences, if you come across these types of things on an astral wandering, you know that you might be getting in touch with something Saturnine. Okay, because you're dealing with a world of symbols. All right, by the way, I'm wearing my stone. This stone that I'm wearing here is chrysoprase. Chrysoprase in Cornelius Agrippa's 3 books of occult philosophy is related to Capricorn. And I use this stone to connect with my birth angel, my Shem angel. So of the Shem angels, of the 72 angels of the Shem HaMepharesh, my birth angel, based on the location of the sun at my birth and the tropical zodiac, my birth angel is Mitzrael. And I just wanted to show that this stone here, according to Agrippa, is associated with Capricorn. So I use, and I found it to be very rewarding. I use chrysoprase. I've got chrysoprase laying around sometimes. This is from Cornelius Agrippa. Okay, this is from Cornelius Agrippa. He talks about the stone chrysoprase as a stone of Capricorn. Okay, so this is a stone of Capricorn, and it's associated with Capricorn according to Agrippa. Okay, so those of you that may be Pisces, actually someone just the other day told me that their birthday was March 1st, I think, or something like that. Somebody commented. So their birth angel would actually be the current Shem angel, Rahel. Now, let's say your Shem angel is Rahel. Let's say you're a Pisces, or let's say you want to work with any of these 6 Shem angels that are in Pisces. You could use a sapphire. According to Cornelius Agrippa, the sapphire is associated with Pisces. So Agrippa lists off the birthstones that you could use. Again, this is using a 16th century magic source text, okay? Nothing wrong with modern books or New Age books, okay? There's nothing wrong with modern New Age books, but you're not getting this from a modern hippie New Age book. You're getting it from the 1600s. Not that older means better necessarily, but there is an ancient, at least, tradition to it, okay? But according to Agrippa, let's see, what is Aries? Aries is sardonyx. Carnelian is Taurus. Topaz is Gemini. Chalcedony is Cancer. Leo is Jasper, I think. Virgo is Emerald. Libra is I don't remember what Libra is. I know Scorpio is Amethyst, which to me was surprising because of how I normally think of amethyst. Anyways, Agrippa lists off the planetary stones. I think this is a great book to have. Again, this is a great source work for those that want to get into like Renaissance or classical magic. This is a great book to have. The 3 books of occult philosophy. But today we are going to ask the planetary intelligence. And then also, I'm thinking that this would be a cool thing, that we can do. I wanted to apologize about my viewers, by the way, because, first I said we're going to do Monday through Friday at 9 a.m., and then I messed that up. I'm trying. I'm really trying. Like, y'all don't understand. I'm really trying. And then I was like, what I think I need to do, it's hard for me to work with a schedule, honestly. It's just every day, just try to pump out content, Maybe not a schedule. There may be a day where I miss. There may be a miss day. Or maybe it's not within a certain box or schedule. But as long as I'm pumping out videos, for the most part, every single day, that is my goal. My goal is that basically every day I'm making videos. I may take a day off a week. That's my goal. 1 day off a week, Every now and then I may take a couple of days off. But for the most part, daily videos. So, it's interesting. I spoke, I try to be careful. I don't want people to think I've gone mad. But... But I'm the Mad Hatter, anyways, yeah, I'm silly in my videos. But the Shem Angels basically told me, okay, I don't want people to think I've gone nuts or something. But the Shem Angels told me, you need to do this as your job. And here's the thing, how many videos have I made since 2008? Since 2008, I've made, well, there's like 200 videos, okay? Guess what? If I did this, if I pumped out 5 videos a week, 6 videos a week, really, I can have that in 1 year. I can double the amount of videos that I have in a year. If I sat down and treated this like a job. And then working with the Shem Angels, and then there's something else that I don't want to go into because it's very personal to me. But there's another spiritual contact that I have that's not the Shem Angels. But I don't want to talk about that publicly on the internet. But there's another spiritual contact that I also very much like credit to this. But the angels basically said, you need to do this full time as your job. Now that's pretty nut. Like how I'm going to quit my job to go teach magic on the internet. Well, the thing is, I've got money saved back, and let's take a look at worst case scenario. Let's think worst case scenario. I've got some money saved. Basically, I'm not hurting or anything, but right now, all I'm doing is making videos. I'm not working. I'm not doing anything else, just videos. And so all I do all day is I study magic. It's heavenly. It's absolutely divine. If I can do this as my career, my God. What do I do every day? Talisha McKnight. What's a day in the life of Talisha McKnight? Well, I get up and I do magic. I study occultism. I do some meditations, might recite my mantra, do my thing. Do some Shem Angel, and then I start making videos, okay? And then I make a video. It's pretty cool if I can get paid to just make videos. But anyways, if I do this as my job, in 1 year I can double my content. So that's kind of what I'm doing. So right now I'm in the middle of monetizing everything. So I've been making videos since 2008. This is the first time in my life I've seriously thought about doing this as my actual job. Like, instead of me doing this and working some other job, just put all of my focus into just making good videos, making good quality content, all of my focus. So for that, I have my Amazon affiliate. I'm not just trying to get people buy the book, but it's one way to monetize my content because I do quote a lot of these books. I do highly recommend them legitimately. We're reading from the books. But if people buy the books, that helps monetize my content. And then I offer Patreon. Patreon, it's optional. So every day there's free videos. Daily, there's a free magic lesson for anyone. Free occult lessons. So I give free content. But those that would like to support my work, think of it as buying me a cup of coffee once a month or something, Think of it as my tip jar. I have my Patreon. With my Patreon, think of it as buying me a cup of coffee once a month. Or think of it like a virtual tip jar. For every day getting free magic videos, every day, people are learning for free content, daily, hours, every week. Only people don't have to pay, but if someone wants to support my work, they want to support my channel, they like this show that I do where I get on here and I talk about magic every day. A lot of people, maybe they can't afford to go to a magic teacher, or a lot of people, maybe they can't afford to join some magic lodge. Maybe some people are stuck at home, and maybe people have some magic books or whatever, but they'd like to have a guide. Someone that can walk them through the classics, okay? So if someone wants to support my work financially, they can go to my Patreon, and, if it's $10 a month, it's a cup of coffee once a month, and it supports my content. Hell, 100 people do that. That's $1,000 a month that can go towards bills or whatever else. And again, I'm never asking people for money, not at all. I'm just explaining to my audience what I'm trying to do and why, because I want my audience to understand why I'm doing what I'm doing. But basically, my Patreon, let's say 100 people. Let's say 100 people gave me $10 a month with my Patreon. So let's say 100 people said, you know what? I'm going to sign up this thing. It's going to be automatic. I don't even have to look at it. But once a month, $10 is going to go to Taliesin McKnight's channel. If I got 100 people to do that, that's $1,000 a month. Plus my Amazon affiliate. Plus I'm going to have my AdSense with ads. And plus I do private tutoring now. So plus I do private tutoring. What is private tutoring? Basically what private tutoring is it's the same thing as watching an hour-long video, but it's just for you. So if someone wants to book a private tutoring, and honestly, it's been pretty lucrative. I've been doing this, and like it's been pretty cool financially. And plus I get to meet interesting people around the world, you know. So I may have a tutoring session in the morning, and you know, that's $60 right there. And I talk about magic, get paid $60 an hour. Talk about magic. It's pretty cool. It's not a bad deal. What do you do for a living? I talk about magic on a camera. I get paid $60 an hour. It's not bad. I've been doing it. And plus, again, there may be someone at home, they don't have a magic teacher, they're not part of a lodge, and they don't know what to do. Maybe once a week, they get an hour-long lecture just for them, you know. Maybe they want to fork up $60 a week, and once a week, do a tarot lesson with Taliesin McKnight or something, support my content. I'll do a tarot lesson with Taliesin McKnight a little bit, but so I do the private, I do the tutoring. So let's say I have 2 tutorings. I have a private tutoring in the morning and then a private tutoring in the evening. Well, that's $120 a day right there. I mean, that's a business. And then I got my Patreon. So basically what I'm explaining is I'm explaining to my audience kind of what I'm doing. So I'm just kind of trying to follow what the Shem Angels told me. Now, could I have stayed in the career that I had and made good money? Yes, I could have. I could have stayed in the career that I was in and made good money. I could have. I had opportunities. In fact, people that have been following me over time, they know that I was making pretty good money in my career for a while. But the Shem Angels told me to quit all of that and just make content as my career. So I, being the absolute madman that I am, not really, I decided to do this as my job. So I offer private tutoring. If anyone wants to, do private, it's an hour long for $60 an hour. Private tutoring, I do offer that. You can contact me on Facebook, and then between the private tutoring and then I make videos. So that is so if people want to support my channel, people have no idea. Just that $10, let's say $10 Patreon. You have no idea like how much that supports my content. If 100 people did that to support my channel, that's $1,000 a month, you know. And I can just put all of my focus in just making a good video instead of working an 8-hour job at a shift or a job 8 hours. All I have to do is just 1 hour, make a good video, but make it good content. 1 hour a day, and usually it ends up being 2 hours a day. But all I do is I just make an hour. My goal is 1 hour. Usually it goes over into 2 hours, hour and a half, 2 hours. It's been like 10 hours a week of content, and people have been watching my stuff. But anyways, so what does this do? What does that do with... I'm just giving people kind of the idea of my vision and my mission of what I'm trying to accomplish with all of this. Well, it does 2 things. People that don't have any money, or they don't have... maybe they don't want to go to a lodge, or they just want to stay at home and they've got their magic books. They just want a little guide, or they just want to listen to Agrippa. Maybe anybody might want to hear a little Agrippa or a little Renaissance magic. And so yeah, basically, it's free. It's all free. Anyone can listen to Agrippa. Anyone can listen to magic, and maybe it'll help people out to get something out of that. And then also, I can just do this as my job. This is what I do for a living. I'm Taliesin McKnight. I make occult videos. So today we're talking about the magic. So if you want to support my work, go to my Patreon. And if not, you're still getting free videos. So this is the magic square of of Saturn behind me. Okay, I'm basically a modern day magician, and I love talking about this stuff, and I want to make this my life. I want to make this my life, you know. And anyway, like I said, I'm not trying to just get everyone to join my Patreon, but basically, like the cool part is like through something like Patreon, and also I'm gonna make videos that may not be available else. It won't be available elsewhere. Just be for my patrons so that they can get like some kind of thank you. There's going to be like private content just for Patreon. It won't be available anywhere else. But basically, just by supporting my Patreon, let's say $10 a month, if 100 people did that, I mean that's 1,000 a month. So that's the thing is like, yeah, people, it does make a difference, you know. So anyone out there that wants to support my Patreon, it makes it where I can put all of my time into just making content like this. So today we're talking about the square of Saturn. And in Agrippa, this is where you get the names of the spirits and the intelligence of Saturn, okay? So I recommend those that are watching this to get a piece of paper and a pen because we're going to ask a spirit a question, okay? So, any of y'all watching at home, I highly recommend getting a piece of paper and a pen, and we're going to do geomancy together, okay? So, anyone that's watching this video, when you leave this video, you'll know how to ask a spirit a question. We're going to ask the spirit of Saturn a question together. If you're down, of course, if you're not comfortable, then don't do it. But those of you that are comfortable doing a little magic with me today, watching this video, yes, right now, all you need is paper and a pen, okay? So those of you that are taking part in this, paper and a pen. Leah says, you deserve it to many years of free videos. Don't explain your gift. There are lots of occults doing the same. Frauder Xavier does it. Yeah. The thing is, actually, ever since COVID, there's more and more people working from home and kind of doing their own gig and doing their own thing. You know what I mean? So, you know, at the same time, like on my side, on the one hand, like I don't want to seem like I'm like asking for anything because I'm really not. And I'm happy to just give free content out. However, I want people to understand that if they do want to support my work, like just that $10 a month or whatever, like it's a big deal. You know, if I just got 100 people to do that, I'd have like a little income every month just for making videos. So like the Patreon, just $10 a month, like that's a really big deal. But anyways, enough of my personal plugs and let's get back to this. But yeah, my Patreon, I really appreciate everyone that does that. And then yeah, we're gonna do some geomancy, y'all. Okay? If you have paper and a pen, let's do this together. Oh, and I'm gonna put my Patreon, any of y'all that want to support my channel, I'm gonna put my Patreon not right now on the live, but after the live is finished. I'm gonna put my Patreon in the comments and I'm gonna put it in the description for anyone that wants to support my work. So, we're going to need a pen and paper. Pen and paper, okay? Guys, we're going to do some geomancy. Be sure and get some pen and paper. And we're going to ask an intelligence of Saturn a question. We're going to ask a disembodied Renaissance magic being a question, a spirit of Saturn, okay? And intelligence of Saturn. So get your pen and paper ready. If y'all don't mind, has it been an hour yet? I don't even know. I'm going to get some coffee. So get your pen and paper ready. To those of you that are watching live, I apologize. I got to get some coffee, y'all. I got to get some coffee, okay? And those of you that are watching later, you can just skip. So give me like 3 minutes, okay? So get your paper and pen ready, and I really appreciate y'all. And so we're gonna have, sometimes we do this in the video, just a brief intermission. Okay, I need to find out like what are the rules on music, you know, because I had some classical music, and it was my understanding that that's all like public domain. you know. So that was kind of my idea, is I can put on some classical music as I step away. But now I'm thinking I need to be really careful with my videos, so I need to like research what could I do. There's probably some kind of like free public domain music that I could find somewhere that I could just like hit play, like, and go, you know. Anyways, I'll be right back, so give me just a second. I'll be right back, y'all. And then we're going to do some geomancy. Hell yeah. So get your pen and paper ready, y'all. We're going to make this happen, Cap'n. I'll be right back, y'all. All right, y'all. So you got your paper and pen ready? Y'all got your paper and pen ready, y'all? Here, let me do this. All right, y'all. Hold on. Come on, camera. Pinche camera. All right, y'all. So you got your paper and pen ready? So the first things first, we need to ask a question related to Saturn. Okay? Because that's the point. We've been just doing readings. Today we need to ask something related to Saturn. Now, you don't want to ask a spirit of Saturn something that's outside his domain. So what do you want to ask related to Saturn? Farming? Anybody, any farmers? You need some info on your hoe and hay? Maybe horses in a stable? No, maybe not. Okay. All right, maybe not. Okay, just throwing that out there. Maybe you're not a farmer. What else related to Saturn? Anything to do with rules, a new schedule, a new discipline, anything that takes work, responsibility, effort, anything that takes discipline. Let's say a new routine, okay, that has to do with time, that has to do with structure, that has to do with discipline. Any kind of discipline, any kind of spiritual, any kind of hard, like, discipline. You could ask about your new routine, your new exercise routine, anything related to do with work, with seeds, with agriculture, with planting, with buildings. All of these things are related to Saturn. What kind of limits is there something that you're trying to impose a limit on yourself? Is there something to do with like your responsibility, something that's hard for you that you have to do and you really don't feel like doing it? That could be associated with Saturn. So Saturn is associated with those things that are hard for you, that maybe it's hard to motivate yourself to achieve it. What is hard for you? What's your thing that you're trying to work on? So that discipline, that diligence, that discipline, that austerity could all be associated with Saturn. Anything to do with fertility. I would normally ask like jobs and stuff like that, more of spirits or intelligence of Jupiter and the sun for like success. But for Saturn, you could ask financial things, financial, fertility, agriculture, anything to do with limits, responsibilities, disciplines, timetables, anything like that. So what y'all need to do is think of something within the office of Saturn. Okay, think of Saturn as an archetype, Father Time, restrictions, boundaries, time, limits, fertility, and farming. Okay, what are you, and things close to the earth, what would you ask for? Okay, you're gonna ask Saturn a question. What question? Okay, so I'll be right back. Amy says, is it asking for help or insights? Either one. So what we're about to do is we're going to call on a spirit or an intelligence of Saturn if you're comfortable. We're going to call on this intelligence in Renaissance magic. We're going to do it on video, and we're going to ask any kind of question related to Saturn. If you're having trouble thinking of a question, anything to do with finances can be ruled by Saturn. Anything to do with discipline, business, discipline, restrictions, anything that you need discipline or responsibility, anything that you don't really feel like doing or anything you're having trouble with, struggles, these things could be associated with Saturn as well. So think of a question related to Saturn, okay? And I'll be right back. We're going to do this together. We're going to draw the sigil of the intelligence, which is like the good spirit or whatever of Saturn, according to Agrippa. Agiel. We're going to draw his sigil. We're going to call his names, and I'm going to show you how to build a ritual from Agrippa, and we're going to ask him a question in Geomancy, okay? So pen and paper. Pen and paper, think of a question. I'll be right back. Think of a question. Fertility. If nothing else, ask something about your job. Work, Saturn, responsibility, ask something about your job. If nothing else, think of a question about your job. I'll be right back, y'all. Following magic, like classical grimoire, there's so much there. The color black. Like I find myself wearing black, and then I've got black coffee. Because if you read Agrippa, there's so many correspondences. Really, this chrysoprase I'm wearing is associated with Capricorn, but Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. All right, y'all. So if you thought of a question, if y'all are having problems thinking of a question, think of work. A question related to work or something that sucks that you have to do. Okay, think of a question related to these things. Okay, so Saturn, here, we're going to ask a question related. Now, what do you ask about Saturn? Let's go over this again. So, the Key of Solomon, Book 1, Chapter 2, says, "In the days and hours of Saturn thou canst perform experiments to summon the souls from Hades, but only of those who have died a natural death. Similarly, on these days and hours thou canst operate to bring either good or bad fortune to buildings." To have familiar, fortune of buildings, you see that a lot in the old magical literature related to Saturn. Good fortune or bad fortune of buildings. I guess like a place of business. To have familiar spirits attend thee in sleep, to cause good or ill success in business, possessions, goods, seeds, fruits, and similar things. So if you want to ask something about Saturn, related to Saturn is business, possessions, goods, seeds, fruits, okay, things dealing with agriculture and fertility. So business, possessions, goods, seeds, and fruits. Think of a question. Think of a question related to possessions and goods and money. Okay, business stuff, okay? All right, you got a question? So now we need to look at the sigil of Saturn, okay? Now, here's the problem. My camera is backwards. But I'm going to try to correct it, y'all. I'm going to try to correct it, y'all. I plan to go much deeper into planetary squares. Because I want us to, I have never been so excited about my channel and my videos before. This is how I know that the Shem Angels are real. Because, dealing with the Shem Angels, I came to life in a way that I can't even really explain. The Shem Angels, I came to life. Like suddenly, like I know what I want to do. Like my passions have come to life, and like everything, really. The Shem Angels, they have changed my life. And I want other people to work with the Shem Angels. I mean, look at me. I'm now doing this as like my job. This has changed my life. The Shem Angels, like there's so many other things, you know, like I know for a fact that this is real. Here's the thing. I think that magic, okay, this is just my honest opinion. It's just my opinion. In my opinion, magic is something that does not respond well to the critical factor. Meaning, if someone doesn't believe in it and they think it's hooey, I don't think it's going to work. That's why I don't think it could be like brought to the skeptical eye. Like, why can't magic be proven by science? Because I think it's going to fail any experiment, because I think the skepticism of the observers in itself destroys it. However, I think that magic is more than placebo. How I can't even really explain. I know for a fact this stuff is real, but I think that people have to like be open to the possibility. I don't think it's something that can ever be proven in a skeptical. It's hard for me to really explain what I'm trying to say, but I know that magic is real, and no one can convince me otherwise, because I've seen the transformative effects. I've seen it. Like, I know. I think magic is absolutely amazing, and I hope that people keep practicing it. And I think that it can transform lives. And I've been seeing it transform lives. And I've been looking at people's comments. Like, it's actually miraculous what happens with the Shem Angels. Like, the idea that you can just call on some angels and start talking about your deepest desires, and they start coming real. Like, I know it sounds nuts, but listen, then why not try it? What is the worst that could happen? Let's say you call on a Shem Angel, you're like, okay, you know what? I'm going to try this out. I'm going to cycle through the 72 Shem Angels and ask each one for something in my life, see if my life changes. What if nothing happens? Well, if nothing happens, nothing happens. You're fine. You haven't lost anything. But what if your whole life transforms before your eyes? What if your life is not the same as before? What if you will never walk out of this the same ever again? What if your whole life is just, you're like a new person? That has been my experience and many other people's experience with the 72 Shem Angels. Is absolutely transformative. But enough about Shem Angels. Today we're dealing with planetary spirits, in this case of Saturn. Now, the problem is my camera, but I'm going to correct it. I corrected it the other day. My camera. Here we go. So I'm going to make it where it's right with my camera. Okay. So here we are. This is going to be a little bit of a challenge. But here we are. Alright, hold on just a second here. Yeah, this is going to be fine. Alright. So. Alright. So, here we are. Alright, so this is the, yep, that's right, I did it right. This is the sigil of the intelligence of Saturn. Alright. Alright, so this is Agiel. Agiel. Alright, I'm going to write this in the way that, alright. All right, Agiel. All right, y'all. So Agiel is the intelligence of Saturn. Okay, and this is basically his sigil, Agiel. So what you would do is take a pen and paper and draw his sigil. Okay, you're gonna draw the sigil of Agiel. Maybe a little bit neater than the one I made, but this is the sigil of Agiel. Okay, so take a pen and paper, draw a double circle like this, and I want you, those of you watching at home, I want you to trace this in the paper. And it is written from your perspective, so you start here on the left, do a little circle, and then pull it to the right, and then down, do the double hook, and then up to the left, and then down. So it is written to your perspective, another circle. So in a double circle, I want you to write this. This is the sigil of the intelligence of Saturn, Agiel. Okay, y'all are going to make a contact with this spirit with me. So like I said, get a pen and paper. Those of you watching this video, pen and paper, put this sigil. And then I'll tell you what to do next. So pen and paper, put this sigil. This is the sigil of the intelligence Agiel. And in Agrippa, this is the good intelligence, the intelligence of good and spirit to evil. This is the good spirit or good intelligence. So those of you that are like paranoid about that or whatever, or just get anxiety, you know, this is the good one, okay? I'm not saying that the spirit's bad. I'm not, okay? I don't see it that way. However, for those of you that have anxiety based on Agrippa, this is the intelligence. Agiel, okay? This is the sigil. Put this on the paper. Now, after you've done that, the names of God associated with Agiel, or associated with Saturn, again, we're in Agrippa's 3 books of occult philosophy. This is book 2, chapter, what is it, chapter 22? Yeah, chapter 22. So this is the 3 books of occult philosophy, book 2, chapter 22. If you have this hardcover that I have from Donald Tyson, I'll give a link if y'all want to buy it. Then it's on page 320. It lists the names of God associated with each magic square and of Saturn. Now the gematria, the gematria of Ab means father is 3. Of Hod, again, nothing to do with the Sephira Hod. Hod of Saturn is 9. Yah, gematria is 15. Hod spelled out, He Vav Dalet is 15. And then Tetragrammaton spelled out, Yod Vav Dalet, He Aleph, Vav Aleph, Vav, He Aleph is 45. And then Agiel has the gematria value is 45. And then Zazel, the spirit, has the gematria value of 45. Now, you've thought of your question, right? So, I'm going to do this with you. We're going to do some magic together. We're doing magic together. Yes, we are. Alright, you got your pen and paper ready? We're doing some Renaissance magic. Okay, magic tool is a pen and paper. So, what we're going to do first of all is we're going to trace the sigil of Agiel. And we're going to ask him a question together. Okay? Agiel. Alright. I'm tracing the sigil as I see it here on camera. Okay, Agiel. Now, I'm going to use the names of God from Agrippa. Now, if you're not comfortable using Hebrew names of God from Agrippa to call on an intelligence, then you could adapt this. However, I'm just using Agrippa at his own words. Okay, the names of God again are Ab, means father in Hebrew. Its gematria is 3. Hod, which has nothing to do with the Sephira here. It means splendor. Here the gematria is 9 or 15. And then Tetragrammaton spelled out has the gematria value of 45. Yod He Vav He. So I'm going to call on Agiel. Look at his sigil and call his name. Now the magical numbers of Agiel and Saturn is 3. So we're going to say it 3 times. So I have his sigil here. I'm going to look at his sigil. Now, those of you that are watching at home, I want you to now stare at the sigil. So right now, those of you that are watching this video right now, I want you to all stare at the sigil on your piece of paper. Continue to listen to my voice and stare at the sigil on your piece of paper. Now, together, we're going to call the intelligence name 3 times. Again, it's Agiel. If you want to look again before you look back at the paper, if you want to look again at how it's spelled, you can look at the camera. It's Agiel, Agiel. Agiel, Agiel, Agiel. Say it with me. Agiel. Okay, those of you that are watching at home, Agiel, Agiel, Agiel. Okay, now, look at the sigil and say it with me 3 times. We're going to call the spirit's name, the intelligence's name. Are you ready? Agiel. Call his name. Try to make contact. Agiel. Call the intelligence's name one more time with me, making contact. Look at the symbol doing it. Agiel. I call upon you in the name of Ab. And the name, and say it with me, I call upon you in the name of Ab. Say it. I call upon you, Agiel, in the name of Ab. Agiel, I call upon you in the name of Yah. In the name of Yah, I call upon you, Agiel. I call upon you in the name of Yod-He, Vav-He. Agiel. And I asked Agiel that you answer my question. Okay, answer my question regarding Okay, did y'all think of a question? I literally covered my mouth because I don't want people to know what I'm asking. Cause I'm legit, like I'm taking this serious, like I'm doing all the stuff, you know. So, have you thought of a question? Anything to do with work or business or fruits or agriculture, buildings, plantings? We're going to go to Saturn. We're asking the intelligence of Saturn, Agiel, a question. So those of you at home right now, we've called on him, Agiel. We've called his name 3 times, Agiel, Agiel, Agiel. We've even invoked him using the names of God from Agrippa, Av, Hod, Yod, He, Vav, He. We've called on Agiel. Now we've asked him our question. I've asked him my question. Have you asked your question yet? So right now, I'm going to wait. We're doing magic. Right now, we're talking to the intelligence of Saturn, Agiel. Okay, we're doing this on camera. I already asked my question. Have you asked your question yet? So ask your question, and then we're going to make 4 rows of dots. So this time we're doing geomancy, but we're asking intelligence of Saturn. So ask your question, and then we're going to make our 4 rows of dots. Okay, y'all ready? Now, Agiel, we're asking you our questions, okay? So answer our questions, Agiel. Now, take your pen and paper, make 4 rows of dots. Okay? So we've asked Agiel, the intelligence of Saturn, our questions, and now we've got 4 rows of dots. Okay? You've got your 4 rows of dots. You've asked your question. Alright, so now we're going to turn this into a geomantic figure. Okay, those of you that are actually doing the work at home, you're now geomancers, you're doing Renaissance magic, you're Renaissance mages, what can I say? Classical magicians, each and every one of you. Okay, now, I'll make a classical magician of you yet. Okay, so we're going to count the number of dots in the top row. If it's an odd number of dots, it becomes one dot in our geomantic figure. If it's an even number of dots, it becomes two dots in our geomantic figure. So we're going to count the top row. Did you do this at home, y'all? So count the dots with me and we're going to get our geomantic figure. Do it with me, y'all. So now you're going to get your question from the spirit of the intelligence of Saturn. You're going to get your question. Are y'all ready to unravel your question from the intelligence of Saturn? Here we go. I'm going to count the top row. I'm going to count the second. That's an odd number. Ugh, I made a blunder. Now, this is something I actually did on camera for the first time. This far dot, I don't know if I did that while I was just pointing at it and talking. I think I might have because it's lighter than the other ones. I hate when this happens because then I don't know what figure I have. I'm going to go with a 1 because I'm thinking that I accidentally did this dot while I was doing this. So we're going to treat that as a 1. Now we're going to count the second row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 14 is an even number, so that's 2 dots. See that ambiguity? That's why I like to use a Sharpie or something that produces a lot of ink. I don't like to wonder if that's a period or if it belongs. Third row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 is an odd number. That becomes 1 dot in my geomantic figure. I'm going to count the bottom row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9. Is Puella. Okay. So my geomantic figure is Puella. What did you get? Actually, Fortuna Major would also fit that question. Or, yeah, Major would also fit that question. What did you get? I got Puella. Okay. What figures did y'all get? So y'all just asked the spirit with me. So what figure did y'all get? I got Puella in mine. All right. So I just got Puella. So yep. So we just asked an intelligence of Saturn. Those of you that are watching me live, we just asked the intelligence of Saturn together. We drew his sigil. Hey, how are you doing? Welcome to the show. So what we did is today we called on the intelligence of Saturn, and we called on this intelligence and we asked it a question. Now, if you're just now tuning in, I will be doing this in my upcoming videos as well. So if you're tuning in live and you wish that you didn't miss out on this, there's going to be a lot more of this as we work through these spirits together. Okay? We're going to work through these intelligences and spirits together. So those of you that are doing this, what did y'all get? Let me take a look here. Amy, hold on a second. All right, so Amy got via dot 1 dot 1 dot 1 dot 1 dot via. Via means road or path, and it's direction, it's movement. Okay, so that's like a yes, or it's a movement, it's a journey. It represents path or road. That's via. So whatever your Saturn intelligence told you, that's via. And then today I also, since we're working with Saturn today, I think we should continue our reading of Agrippa's 4th book of occult philosophy. Today we're going to read, in honor of Saturn, we're going to read the geomantic figures associated with Saturn in the 12 houses, okay? So, Today we're dealing with Saturn. Those of you that are watching live, we just asked the intelligence of Saturn a question and got an answer. What did you guys get? Now we're going to go to Agrippa or Pseudo-Agrippa on Geomancy. Now, the fourth book of occult philosophy, another book I highly recommend. When I finish, I'll give links, which will be commission links, by the way. Anything that says #ad is a commission link. I do get a commission. But Heinrich Cornelius Agrippa, the fourth book of occult philosophy, there's a lot of debate whether Agrippa really wrote this or not. It appeared about 30 years after Agrippa had died. See, Agrippa had published the 3 books in 1533, and Agrippa died, I think, a couple years later in 1535. This appears, I think, in 1565, but it's still a 16th century work on geomancy. Whether Agrippa wrote it or not, it is a 16th century. It's composed of 6 treatises. 2 of them are books on geomancy. One of them is the fourth book proper that puts the magic of the 3 books of occult philosophy more into a practical sense. Okay, example. And then there's 2 works on geomancy, a book on spirits. So this is actually 6 treatises on Renaissance magic, all published in the 1600s. Okay, the 1500s, the 16th century. And then also Heptameron of Peter de Abano and the Arbitel of Magic. So you're getting a heavy dose of classical magic in the 6 treatises that are included with the 4th book. Now, today we're going to read about 2 geomantic figures associated with Saturn, and these are going to be Carcer and Tristitia. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this. So, did y'all do that? You know what? I feel really honored because here's the thing. There are many people that have never done that before, that is their first time. There are many people that have never worked with a spirit or intelligence of a planet from Agrippa, that was their first time. And wow. That's an honor, So, what we're going to do is we're going to go to Agrippa on Geomancy, okay? We're going to read some 16th century magic, okay? Like we usually do. We're going to do some 16th century magic, y'all. These are wonderful books, okay? These are books on magic and occultism from the 16th century. I absolutely love it, love it, love it. Okay, I found it. Carcer. So, the 4th book, or actually Agrippa on Geomancy, whether Agrippa wrote the book or not. Okay, the book associated with him in Geomancy. Okay. Alright, Carcer. Okay? Carcer. So, this is going to talk about the geomantic figure Carcer in the 12 houses of the zodiac. Again, we're reading Agrippa on Geomancy. We're continuing our series of Agrippa on Geomancy. This is a 16th century text on Geomancy associated with Agrippa, whether or not Agrippa really wrote it. Agrippa on Geomancy, we're reading about the figures of Saturn, which are Carcer and Tristitia. The first one we're going to talk about is Carcer. So it's going to go over Carcer and the 12 houses. Now, I feel kind of bad. Thank you, Agiel, and I bid you peacefully depart. Goodbye and farewell. Something important, because I know that y'all of you that have listened, y'all did call this intelligence to you and asked it a question. You now need to give it a license to depart. Never call something without saying goodbye. So, all of you at home that did that with me, now is the time to bid goodbye and farewell. So it could be as simple as this. Agiel, we thank you for spending this time with us. We thank you for answering this question for all of us, Agiel. And now we bid you peacefully depart, goodbye, and farewell. And what I like to do is I like to do it with an Agrippan blessing. Agiel, we ask that you peacefully depart with the blessings of Ab, the blessings of Yah, the blessings of Yod He Vav He. We bid you peacefully depart, goodbye, and farewell. Okay, that is my approach. All right. Now, have you all Did you all bid peacefully depart to your intelligence that you called with me? Okay. We called intelligences and spirits and all that. I want you all to say goodbye and farewell. If you haven't done it yet, say it right now with me and it'll be sufficient. Say it with me right now, y'all. Goodbye and farewell. Okay? We'll do it one more time. Agiel, we thank you for answering this question for us. Now we bid you peacefully depart. Goodbye and farewell. Goodbye and farewell, Agiel. Agiel, we bid you peacefully depart in the blessings of Yah, and the blessings of Ab, and the blessings of Yod He Vav He. Goodbye and farewell. Okay, now we go to Agrippa's fourth book. We're going to read about Carcer. Now, this is not a very fortunate figure, okay? The Renaissance mages were not very fond of Saturn, okay? It was seen as very unlucky. So, just a word of warning, this is going to get pretty bad. But this is Carcer. This is what Agrippa, or Pseudo-Agrippa, had to say about getting Carcer in a reading in the 12 houses. Carcer in the first house, being posited, giveth a short life, signifies man to be most wicked, of a filthy and cruel, unclean figure and shape. Damn, Agrippa. Of such as are hated and despised of all men. Carcer in the second house causeth most cruel and miserable poverty, signifies both the thief and things stolen to be taken and regained, and showeth no treasure to be hid. In the third house, Carcer signifieth hatred and dissension amongst brethren, evil journeys, most wicked faith and conversation. Carcer in the fourth house signifieth a man to have no possessions or inheritances, a father to be most wicked and to die a sudden and evil death. Damn. In the fifth house, Carcer giveth many children, showeth the woman not to be with child, and provoketh those that are with child to miscarry of their own consent, or slayeth the child, signifieth no honors, and disperseth most false rumors. In the sixth house, Carcer causeth the disease to undergo long sickness, signifieth servants to be wicked, rather unprofitable, physicians ignorant. In the seventh house, Carcer showeth the wife shall be hated of her husband, and signifies suits and contentions to be ill-ended and determined. In the eighth house, Carcer declareth a kind of death to be by some fall, mischance, or false accusation, or that men shall be condemned in prison or in public judgment, and showeth them to be put to death, or that they shall often lay violent and deadly hands upon themselves, denieth a wife to have any portion in legacies. Carcer in the ninth house showeth he that is absent shall not return, and signifieth some evil shall happen to him in his journey. It denotes persons of no religion, a wicked conscience, and ignorant of learning. In the 10th house, Carcer causeth princes to be very wicked and wretchedly to perish, because when they are established in their power, they will wholly addict themselves to every voluptuous lust, pleasure, and tyranny. Causeth judges to be unjust and false, declareth the mother to be cruel and infamous, and noted with the badge of adultery, giveth no offices nor magistries, but such as are gotten and obtained either by lying or through theft and base and cruel robbery. And the 11th house, Carcer causeth no friends, nor love, nor favor amongst men. And the 12th house, it raiseth enemies, detaineth in prison, and inflicteth many evils. So as you can see, here's the thing. Reading these old books on magic is kind of a skill, because a lot of people would read that and be like, what in the world? That is awful. People would get so scared, so horrified. Oh my gosh, it's the end of the world. I got Carcer in this house. Okay, but as you read these books, you learn to take it with a grain of salt. It's very dramatic. Getting Carcer in a reading is not the end of the world. A lot of times it's just about stability and restriction, or maybe you feel a little trapped or limitation. Look at the figures that are around it. Fortunate figures will soften the negative side of Carcer. But these old books are very, how do you put it, exaggerated. So I don't want people to get so scared reading this old literature. That's why it's kind of a skill reading these old books. You learn to take it with a little bit of a grain of salt. Now we're going to move on to Tristitia, which means sadness. Yay! A real exciting, pleasant session today, y'all. But it does mean sadness. But, you know, Saturn is associated with melancholy. Okay? It is that, the thing is, the planets are not good or bad. They just are. Okay, but Saturn does have some of these challenging aspects. Tristitia is sadness. In Spanish, tristeza. Tristitia. Okay, in Spanish, tristeza, sadness. Okay, Tristitia is Latin. It means sadness. As you can see, it's 2, 2, 2, and then 1. Tristitia, also associated with Saturn. As you can guess from the title, sadness, it's not a very pleasant one. Sorry, Saturn. Here we go. Through the 12 houses. Again, we're reading Agrippa's 12 books. Tristitia in the first house doth not abbreviate life, but afflicteth it with many molestations. Signifieth a person of good manners and carriage, but one that is solitary, and slow in all his business and occasions. One that is solitary, melancholy, seldom laughing, but most covetous after all things. And the second house, Tristitia, it giveth much substance and riches. So that's good. So there's a positive there. Tristitia gives much substance and riches in the second house. But they that have them shall enjoy them, but shall rather hide them, shall not enjoy them, but shall rather hide them, and shall scarce afford to themselves food or sustenance therefrom. Treasure shall not be found, neither shall the thief nor the theft. Tristitia in the third house signifieth a man to have few brethren, but showeth that he shall outlive them all. Okay. Causeth unhappy journeys, but giveth good faith. So that's good. So Tristitia seems a little bit more positive. And the fourth house, Tristitia consumeth and destroyeth fields, possessions, and inheritances. Causeth a father to be old and of long life, and a very covetous hoarder up of money. And the fifth house, it signifies no children, or that they shall soon die. Damn. Showeth the woman with child to bring forth a woman child, giving no fame nor honors. And the sixth house, Tristitia, showeth that the sick shall die. Servant shall be good, but slothful, and signifieth cattle shall be of a small price or value. And the seventh house, Tristitia, showeth that the wife shall soon die, and declareth suits and contentions to be very hurtful and determining against you. And the eighth house, it signifies the kind of death to be with long and grievous sickness, and much dolour and pain. Giveth legacies and an inheritance, and endoweth the wife with the portion. Tristitia in the ninth house showeth that he that is absent shall perish in his journeys, or signifies that some evil mischance shall happen to him. Causeth journeys to be very unfortunate. but declareth men to be of good religion, devout, and profound scholars. And the 10th house, Tristitia, signifies princes to be severe, but very good lovers of justice. It causeth just judges, but such as are tedious and slow in determining of causes. It bringeth a mother to a good old age, with integrity and honesty of life, but mixed with diverse discommodities and misfortunes. It raiseth to great offices, but they shall not be long enjoyed nor persevered in. It signifies such offices as do appertain to the water or tillage and manuring of the earth, of such as are to be employed about matters of religion and wisdom. And the 11th house, Tristitia, signifies scarcity of friends and the death of friends, and also signifies little love or favor. In the 12th house it showeth no enemies, wretchedly condemneth the imprisoned, and causeth many discommodities and disprofits to happen in one's life. So that is the 4th book of occult philosophy on Tristitia. Now, how do I read these? Well, we try to let Agrippa or Pseudo-Agrippa speak for himself in these videos, but Tristitia represents basically sadness, and Carcer is a lack of movement. It's like being trapped. It represents prison and sadness. So, but trapped or a lack of movement, and Tristitia could represent sadness, you know. Usually it's kind of literal. Sadness or downtime or whatever else. So that is, today, that was the first of this series of videos. Now, what do I have ahead? I think tomorrow I might actually do both Spanish and English. I don't want to quote I'll have something coming out tomorrow. I need to do some Spanish content too, though. But I'd like to continue this where I go through the planets. Today I did Saturn, so tomorrow I can do the Sun, And, yep, I'm looking forward to this. Each day there's some more magic coming out. I did miss a day or two, but I'm back and I plan to keep doing this every day. So maybe I may not have like a solid schedule. I am trying, but at least I am. I'm just going to look at it like this instead of thinking of it like a schedule, because I'm figuring out the kinks as I do. It's just me making videos, try to do daily videos, I might take a day off a week or something, but try to do daily videos. And, yep, that is it for today. Today we did our first time asking a planetary intelligence something for a reading. So that was pretty exciting. We're going to keep doing these Renaissance stuff together. So, yep, that is pretty much it. I thank everyone that took the time to drop by and say hello. It really means a lot. Thank you, everyone, for stopping by to say hello. I'm going through the comments here. So today, this is Sunday. I should have some stuff coming out, either in Spanish or both in English and Spanish. We'll see how it goes. All right, y'all. So I guess that's it. What's it been, like a couple hours, hour and a half? All right, y'all. That's it for today. I hope everyone has a wonderful day, and I'll see y'all next time. Have a great day, y'all. Thank you. Thank you so much for watching. Bye, y'all. Have a wonderful day. Thank you. And be sure and check out my Patreon if you want to support my work. And I'll see y'all tomorrow. Bye, y'all.